You already know what time it
No, no,
is.
no, no. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It's Monday. You guys already know what time it is. I got this gentleman over here that I just had to pull out of a rabbit hole because he wants to go around the nation. What stops will we be making? We'll be making a stop in Clemson. A lot to talk about there. Our next stop, we're going to go out west to see what's going on with Barry Odom and UNLV. Then next, we're going south. And then this guy got a crate digger in UNLV. It's Overreaction Monday. Y'all already know what time it is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Today I am the governor of college football. Yes, sir. The mayor of college football, aka Downtown Nino Brown. Yes, sir. Welcome to another marvelous episode of Overreaction Monday. I am the governor of college football, and with me is a guy that needs no introduction, the mayor of college football, Downtown Nino Brown. Y'all already know the deal. Rapid fire one love, rapid fire one liners, but this time we're gonna do spicy level times two. Nino, spiciest take you've been holding on to. And every year you give me about 3 or 4 of them that you wait. You typically wait. I'm trying to get it out of you August 12th. I know you're going to announce it before the 24th, but I'll try to get it out of you on August 12th.
I'm gonna go. I got two. All right.
Okay. Yeah, let's hear 'em.
If people on Twitter and X, apparently StreamYard is having technical difficulties and only allowing us on YouTube. But I got two spicy takes I've been holding on to the back. I got two more I'll save a little bit later on. Here's one. You ready?
Mm.
Notre Dame finishes outside the top 15 and isn't in the college football playoff. And I'm going to talk to you about why. I think there's 4 games on this thing that they could lose. I think they can lose game week 1 at Texas A&M College Station. Okay.
Mhm.
I think they can lose in Atlanta against Georgia Tech. I know it's a home
That's a
game,
great
but
take.
I think they can lose to Florida State. And I think that end of the season game against USC, it could be another loss. Now, don't let them slip up and lose to Navy, because then everything I'm saying will come to fruition for a fact. All right? And my other hot take is, boom, I love you, buddy. And I'm sorry. But Oklahoma State finishes with a higher ranking than Oklahoma.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of people that don't agree with that.
Right.
I'll tell you that.
You just look at the dynamic of where Oklahoma State is, how wide open the Big 12 is versus the myriad of top tier teams in the SEC, and it's definitely going to be a different style of play over there too. So yes, I agree with that 100%. But of course, there are going to be people that don't agree with that, and we have a lot of Sooner following here on this channel.
If they win a game or two that they're not supposed to, right? Like if they somehow win the game against Kansas State, which I don't think is not feasible. I think that they can be in that game. It's possible to win that game. If they are in the game, I think West Virginia will win the game. But if they pull away in that game, now we're looking at possibly double-digit wins. And then Oklahoma is definitely looking up at Oklahoma State.
The 2024 college football season will be the blank season of all time. And it might be a blank, whatever you need to add.
I'll make it real simple. It's going to be the most off chalk season of all time.
I like that.
Whatever people are thinking right now, I don't think you got to think about it. Okay, we starting going into when it was BCS, and then when this college football playoff actually started. Every year, there's maybe 15 to 20 teams that woke up, stopped week 0, that thought, yeah, I got a chance to win in that. Right. And maybe last year might have grew a little bit, with a little bit of the parity there. There's got to be at least 50 teams right now that think I got a chance to make the playoff. It's 12 teams. A G5 team gets in. I think it's going to be the most off chalk season we've ever thought about. Like, yes, all right off the rip, you got Georgia as 1. I don't think they finish that one. I don't. I think there's going to be a lot of hoo-ha in the SEC this year where there's too many good teams. There's going to be a lot of good teams with either 1 or 2 losses, and things are going to change. So I just think this is going to be, like I said, the most off chalk ever.
I love that take. I had a discussion with Jalen earlier, and they share similar sentiments. I said, "What happened if in Atlanta, week one, Clemson somehow comes out with the win? How would
Hey,
that change people's perspective of what this season's going to be?" And that falls right into the lines of what you said. And that may be one of my early upset picks. So stay tuned for that. Name a team that's completely under the radar, but that will take off this year.
I would have said Virginia Tech, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But it seems as though the train and the station is starting to fill up. Everybody's got their
Oh, it
tickets.
is.
They're
It
starting to get
is.
them pawned and scalped for the train
You
ride here.
you were there last year though.
It's kind of something repetitive, so let's
Yeah,
see
yeah,
what
yeah.
okay. But I'm gonna
I
go
was
with
I was with you last year too.
you were.
Yeah.
And I'm still on the Kyron Drones train. I do believe
Mhm.
he's going to be a guy, and they got some pieces to the puzzle out there, especially some freshman wide receivers who I think are going to do things for him.
Mhm.
But I'm going to go with the Roadrunners of UTSA.
Wow,
Okay,
that's an off chalk. Speaking of the words off chalk, I like that. Okay, UTSA.
everybody's kind of been off the Roadrunners since the national spokesperson and old man Frank Harris has moved on for the Roadrunners here. But let's not be blind at it. Owen McGowan is no slouch. Okay,
Mhm.
he very well could be better than Frank Harris in this scheme. And the combination of DeCorian Clark and Devin McEwen, they're about to light up the AAC. Do not get it twisted. And they have Kavarian Bonds at running back. That offense may be better
Mhm.
now, addition by subtraction, without Frank Harris than they were a season or two ago. Do not sleep on the Roadrunners.
I like that take. So I always keep all of the scripts that I write, and when you make bold takes, always have the data up top. That way, I'm able to go back and be like, you know what, on 8/12, Nino said this, so when he's right, we can come back. We can come back to this. So, who wins Florida State v the ACC?
Why does it feel like Florida State, and I got Pro, I feel bad because he's probably going to call me after this and light my ass up. But why does it feel like Florida State is the redheaded stepchild of the college football family? Right? Like Florida, right? With their terrible record and a head coach on the hot seat, getting more love than the Seminoles, right?
Yeah.
When they were at their pinnacle last season, and they got excluded from the playoff with an undefeated season, nobody wanted them. The SEC wasn't interested. Big Ten wasn't interested. Shit, Big Dick Brett Yorkman wasn't even interested. Didn't even want to put him on the table for him. He wants everybody. Didn't want them.
No.
Honestly, I sit back and I think about it. The longer this goes, the worse it is for Florida State. So give me the ACC to pull it out like Steph Curry in the fourth quarter in the Paris and the Olympics to get the dub.
That can't have me going crazy yesterday watching the game. And it was the exact other feeling for the USA women's team. Like they couldn't have used Caitlin Clark.
No.
hey, bro, my blood was boiling. But I think that's a great take. I think that's a great take for a few reasons. One, like Jim Phillips said during ACC Media Days, he was firm. This isn't a guy I've ever seen be firm. He was firm. He said they signed the contract not once, but twice. Now, they are meeting with a mediator this week. Read a piece by my guy, Ross Dellinger. I think he's personally my favorite journalist in the college football world. Bill Connolly's up there too, but I look at Bill Connolly more from an analytical phase, and Ross Dellinger just tell me what's going on. And they're meeting with a mediator this week. I think what ends up happening, Florida State ultimately will leave the conference. I think what they're going to try to do, though, is not pay the full price that it's going to cost to breach the contract. You signed the contract twice, bro. You're going to have to pay to leave the conference. Hopefully they can come to a middle ground of what is acceptable, and then they move on. But where will they go? Because I'm not sure the SEC wants them.
That's my point. Where are they going to? Dude, we talked about this last year at this time. And the money back guys had already raised $100 million and was selling planes off, right? Nobody wanted them.
They don't.
Nobody. Like I said, year is shitting in his pants, dude. Yeah, and sticking up the place, and with his win-loss record, and they're getting more love than Florida State. Mike Norvell's have winning programs, right? Bringing in good recruits, bringing in good transfers. They
Right.
make this program pop. Ain't getting no love. Like, why does nobody want them? And if they get and this is why I think the ACC is like, okay, boy, you want to play? We're going to play. But we're going to win because we know nobody wants you. Because nobody was calling up your phone and knocking on our door saying, hey, we'll work a deal. We'll cut a check where you get a little bit so we can take them. Nah, the payout ain't worth what you're going to give them. The dividends don't add up.
From what I read, the SEC is more interested because of location, is more interested in North Carolina than they are interested in Florida State. So that right there tells you a lot.
They're not a solo act. They have to come with a package deal for them to leave the ACC, and you can put that one and bank on it. They will not leave by themselves. If they go to the SEC or they go to the Big Ten, they will. So both of those conferences say we want more than one. I want Clemson or I want North Carolina. It's got to be more than just Florida State because they don't bring enough to the table.
100% accurate. Let's get into the news. The Clemson Tigers finished the 2023 season 9-4 after a thrilling 38-35 victory over Kentucky in the Gator Bowl. Clemson has been big bro in the ACC for years, but you get the feeling that gap is closing just a little bit. Year 2 of Garrett Riley's offensive coordinator, and we're hoping to see the evolution of Cade Klubnik in his second year in this system. Clemson had the 52nd, ranked offense. I worded that weird in the nation last season. It looks to improve on that number. Nino, who are your impact players offensively for Clemson?
52nd in the nation. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about the Tigers as if they were one of the worst teams in the college football universe.
We certainly were.
I get it. 4-4 in the conference is bad. Mm-hmm. And your head coach is a dinkus. Okay. Well, almost 30 points per game on offense with a quarterback and a head coach that weren't even on the same page, say, mid-season. Mm-hmm. I mean, Clemson wasn't really that bad. I was the guy that was ripping them apart, all right? And as bad as I was on Cade Klubnik, he really wasn't as terrible as I made him out to be. It was almost 64% completion, right? He had almost 3,000 yards passing, 19-9 TD to INT ratio. He had, and this is where people got to get diving a little bit. He only had 182 rush yards with 4 touchdowns. But they allowed 25 plus sacks, and he lost 215 on sack yards.
Right.
That hurts a man. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So those numbers look different. They put up almost two 1,000-yard running backs in Moffa and Shipley, right? In a wide receiver room that couldn't stay healthy. In a system that was probably running on 2.5 cylinders of the 4 because Dabo wouldn't put enough oil in the engine. So
right.
Antonio Williams played 6 games, done, right? Tyler Brown was kind of Katy Perry, hot or cold. One week he was good, mm-hmm. The next week he was nowhere to be. But they're both
very much so
great. If they're healthy and can stay on the field, they can create a lot of space for Klubnik, and they fit this Riley system. Shit. If he could do what he did with Quentin Johnson and make him look like an all-star, and Max Dugan, if I put Antonio Williams and Klubnik against them two, I'm going with the guys in orange before I'm going against the guys
right,
in purple.
For sure.
You know, and then you got to think about it. Like, don't sleep on Brian Westcott Jr., the true freshman. We saw what he was doing in the spring game.
Oh,
there are a lot of pieces, right? If Dabo says, I'm going to give you a little bit more leeway, Garrett, I'm going to let you spread it out a little bit more. I'm going to let you drive the car on the weekends instead of just cleaning it for me, right? This offense could be something. He's already doing a hot step, 2-step shooting the gun in the football with Klubnik, Dabo, and Meady. They look like that was his long-lost son. So maybe they figured it out. Maybe it's the show, whatever it is. But as of right now, I think Clemson might be a little bit better than a lot of people are starting to give them credit for this year.
Agreed. Defensively, the Tigers were rock solid last season, finishing 8th nationally. Defensive coordinators Mickey Conn and Wes Goodwin are looking to continue that trend. Who are the top players to watch defensively?
Well, I mean, they can look to continue the trend. Well, I mean, to quote famous Justin Timberlake. Jeremiah Trotter, Gumbo, Ruke, Nate Wiggins are all
They
gone,
lost the pieces.
gone. Right? They're not coming back.
No,
But can
no.
Barrett Carter replace the production of Trotter? Because Trotter was literally better at every statistical category you can go down the line defensively last year. And I heard to start the year that Barrett Carter was supposed to be much better than Jeremiah Trotter.
I remember that.
We won't revisit that.
Mhm.
Okay? But it's not even that. It's can Kobe McClure or the true freshman Sammy Brown fill that void? Because I think they're going to have to fill that void for Trotter. You're looking at a guy who had a total of 17 tackles with Kobe. And Sammy Brown, great. I know he's a five-star dude, but he hasn't played a down in actual college football. So there's a lot of inexperience there with a lot of big question marks. So I worry in that linebacker room that maybe Garrett Carter might be overplaying himself this year till these guys figure it out. Now, Khalil Bonds was an absolute stud opposite Nate Wiggins last year. Shit, he had better freaking numbers than Nate Wiggins last year. He had 6 PBUs, 2 interceptions, almost 40 tackles. Now, was that a product of Nate Wiggins being over there, right? And he was the dude. But now Khalil Bonds has to be that dude. And Avion Terrell has to play the Khalil Bonds role. Because someone's got to fill that void. Because all they will do is, we see what they do when there's only one good DB in any system, just eliminate one side of the field. Don't throw that way. We'll test the guy who's not good. We'll test the guy who doesn't have the inexperience. So I think those guys have to be Barrett Carter, Khalil Bonds, Avion Terrell, have to be absolute dogs for this Clemson defense. Shit, they only allowed 21.1 points per game last year, which was top 40 in the nation. You know what I mean? So that's a lot of pieces to fill, and that's a high bar to hit. If they can stay in that pocket, give or take, 4 or 5 points per game, hey, we're cooking here.
Right. Especially we can only expect them to be better than 52nd offensively this year. And anything is possible. Overall, the topic in Clemson, South Carolina is still Dabo Swinney's refusal to utilize the transfer portal. Nonetheless, 68% return production, 11th best recruiting class this past cycle, and the 26th toughest schedule nationally. Nino, what are your overall expectations for the Tigers this season? I know what your expectations are. Let the audience know what your expectations are.
I mean, I think they got an honest chance to win the ACC, right? And I think they're a sneaky team that could slip into the playoff. I mean, obviously, the measuring stick game is going to be week 1 at Georgia. And like you said, God forbid that they win that game.
Right.
And week 2 is no slouch because I think App State's a sneaky team this year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I think Clemson, if you match up pedigree to pedigree here, I think Clemson should beat them. Get an off week. I think they should beat NC State, although I do think NC State's going to be a thorn on a lot of people's side this year.
Yeah.
You get Stanford, right? At Florida State. Then you got Wake, Virginia, Louisville, Virginia Tech, Pitt, Citadel, South Carolina. I'm looking at 10, possibly 11 wins here. Like, people that are sleeping on Clemson and Dabo's been doing his dumb shit for the last 3 years. If they figure this out, if they are somewhat remotely on the same page with Garrett Riley, and they're letting Garrett Riley dial and Klubnik's answering the call, watch out. Because, yes, they need to start developing O-linemen, but they're returning some O-linemen that were there last year, so the experience is back. Shout out to Danny Savage in the chat.
What's interesting is that if Dabo Swinney is able to either win it all, which is difficult to do without the portal, or get close to winning it all, he will shut a lot of people up. Because a lot of people were talking about like Clemson went 6-6 last year. You know what I'm saying? So if he's able to, Clemson in my problem, woo, I like that. Andy the Savage.
They can mess around and win the ACC and put themselves in the playoff. Since we've seen Dabo in the hunt for anything,
Yes, because I think he wants to prove that his way still works. He always still works. What's that?
We're going to revisit this because we've been revisiting this topic for a long time. Remember that No Country for Old Men episode? He goes deep into this playoff. He's done. This is it, fam. I'm out, Ski. I'm going to go out on a high note. I brought Clemson back into the semifinals of the playoff, right? Cool, man. I'm out, Ski. See you later.
That's a take. We're headed out west now. UNLV finished the 2023 season 9-5. After starting off the season red hot, then losing its last 3 games of the season, including the Guaranteed Rate Bowl to Kansas 49-36. Offensively, the Rebels had the 22nd best offense nationally. And of course, with Jaden Miava hitting a portal by the way of Southern California, questions are arising of can the Rebels duplicate that same success this season offensively? Nino, who are your impact players on the offensive side of the ball for the Rebels?
Let me get there in a second. I'm going to read you something. I want you to give me an answer, okay?
Okay.
63.5%.
17 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Is that
10
where you going?
3,000 yards, right? 277 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns. Or 61.9% completion, 1,700 yards passing, 20 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, 1,243 yards on the ground, and 9 touchdowns.
Give me B, of course.
And that's Matthew Sluka, who comes in to replace Jaden Miava. So I don't know if we're getting a drop off here, folks. Okay?
Right.
And in that, he had 1,200 yards. They produced another 1,000-yard running back in that system. Oh shit! They just had a running back who on a split and a running back by committee with 3 backs as a true freshman. With a nation with 12 touchdowns as a true freshman. Not Gavin Sawchuk, people. He wasn't a true freshman. Jaden Thomas was a true freshman. Had 12 touchdowns. He led the nation. Sorry, PFF, you were wrong. But now Lester and Davis Jr. are gone. You know what that means? 200 voided attempts, 1,600 voided yards, and 16 voided touchdowns to my guy, Jaden Thomas, or to Matthew Sluka, which is going to do what? Make defenses have to stay up front and in the box, stay home, stay true, which is going to open the doors for guys like Ricky White and a gentleman you may not be familiar with, and Jacob DeJesus, who's going to play in the slot role, right? Who's good? Like people, Matthew Sluka produced a dude at 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns. Yeah, he only threw for 1,700. Jalen Coker was an absolute stud, and now plays in the NFL for Carolina Panthers out of Holy Cross, people. Okay, so Matthew Sluka can have a wide receiver 1, and also can run loose on his field while having another running back go buck wild. Sluka, Thomas, White, and DeJesus should be an absolute star-studded package for the Rebels this year. That offense mixed with OC Brendan Marion's scheme, watch out. I don't think they take a step back. I think they take a step forward.
You think they take a step forward offensively? I love offense, of course. UNLV had the 106th best defense nationally, and certainly looking to improve upon that this upcoming season. Nino, talk to me about some of the guys defensively.
We'll talk about 2 transfers. One of them I'm super excited about. Tony Grimes. Okay, this guy at UNC.
I remember you talking about him last season before the season started.
Yeah, he transferred to Texas A&M. I thought he was going to be the stud over there, right? Got hurt, didn't play a snap for them all year. But at UNC in 2 seasons, he had 16 pass breakups and 85 tackles over 2 years. This guy was an absolute stud. Now he's going to UNLV where the competition might not be as tough. I think this kid's going to be putting himself back up there. Don't be surprised if you hear about this kid as a second tier DB coming into the NFL draft next year. Now another journeyman kid I'm still waiting for.
I know.
Freshman production, freshman 100 tackle season and 4 pass breakups in Jaden Catalon. Right?
Yeah.
He came from Arkansas, went to Texas last season.
Yeah.
Now he's at UNLV. I think the mindset of of these coaching staff, the mindset of these players, I think Catalon's going to get an ego check a little bit. Maybe he'll be the guy in that secretary, but we need to see him. Like I said, I need to see more of what happened 3 years ago, and not what we've seen in the past years. Like I said, healthy, finally fully. That's just been kind of his problem, is he can't stay healthy. Now that he's fully healthy and in the system, I think he can be a catalyst. I don't think he's going to be the leader, but I think he can be a catalyst. The leader of this defense is Jackson. The linebacker snaps is like 116 tackles last year, 9 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 4 pass breakups. I mean, this kid can get after the ball, get down, wreak havoc in the backfield, have your quarterback having nightmares about him, and then he can drop back, right, and just play coverage, get his hands on the ball. He's a former Arkansas linebacker that transferred. Just couldn't get on the field to get those guys in front of him. This dude just balling past 2 years. I think he about to see 140 tackles on Jackson. I think he could be Mountain West, linebacker, leads the Mountain West in tackles this year.
Let me write that down. All righty. So UNLV is returning 63% of their production and has the 91st toughest schedule in the nation. Nino, what are your overall expectations for the Rebels? And before you answer, I do want to say this. You know how we hear every year about the theory of cannibalization and how some conferences may cannibalize themselves. Is the Mountain West one of those, that's not a term we really like to use, but it's the Mountain West one of those conferences that can possibly cannibalize themselves?
I mean,
but because yes, Oregon State and Washington State don't count, but they are playing core Mountain West games.
All right, but you got to look at Wyoming lost their head coach. Craig Boyle's gone. That's a whole different scheme you're looking at. I don't think they're going to be the same. I know they're a defensive minded team. I think they're trying to find an idea. Utah State, everything's up in the air over there right now. Okay? This late in the game. San Jose State, another team, lost their coach. Everything's, you got to look at San Diego State comes in with Sean Lewis. I've already spoke about them. I think
for sure.
They might ruin some people's hopes. I don't know if it'll lead to cannibalism. I don't know. Nevada and New Mexico. So you're looking at pretty much, UNLV, Fresno State, Colorado State, maybe the four of them. Maybe they could be the teams to kind of screw themselves. But I think at the end of it, I think one of those teams will emerge. I think too many people put too much stock in Boise State. I'm sorry.
You think too many people?
Is he the guy, or is Maddox Madsen going to be the quarterback? Like Malachi Nelson, is he supposed to be the QB1? Everybody's saying he's the QB1, right? But now I'm reading that Maddox Madison went off the last 2 weeks of practice, and coach hasn't named QB1.
Yeah, and we're kind of hearing that all over the country. And the reason I use the term cannibalism, and it's not in a typical term as you would hear as it pertains to the 14 playoff, but if we're looking at that G5 spot, and the best way to get into the college football playoff is being the highest ranked G5 team. Do you think that there's a team in the Mountain West that can come out as the highest ranked G5 team?
Is it the highest ranked G5 team or the best record? Because what happens if someone's undefeated in the Mountain West?
I see what you said. No, it's the highest ranked G5 team coming out of the college football the last college football playoff ranking. Yep.
They need to.
You got to seem like, I'm at a bunch of Liberty games. Right. I'm rooting for Liberty, but they got a tough schedule this year. They got to play JMU and they got to play App State. And man, you both are buying stock.
I'm heavy on both of those teams. But UNLV, I got them at 9 wins. I think that they could get to 9. Okay. I mean, I've been an advocate of Houston. I think Donovan Smith's back, but I think it's week 1, and I think UNLV can win that game, even though it's that.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Then it's Utah Tech. Sorry, that's a dub. Hot take: I think UNLV beats Kansas at Kansas. I don't trust Jalen Daniels, bro. This is not college football 25, right? Where Devin Neal has the OP spin move.
Right.
That doesn't work in real life. All right, and I think they're going to stack the box. I think they're going to test the kid who's had a back injury in back-to-back seasons, right? And I said it before, I'll say it again. Is he that much better than JCP? JCP's in the NFL, bro.
He is?
In the NFL. And he was doing his thing this weekend, toting the rock, throwing touchdowns. So it's like, everybody likes Daniels. I'm a little bit leery of the kid. And I think,
We're purely going off of potential with Daniels. Because we haven't seen it done for an entire year. I would love to see it for an entire year. I love what they have on the back end at corners. I like the running back, wide receiver room. Little to be desired, but like you said, if Daniels isn't healthy, I don't think that's far-fetched at all.
So now you're looking at 3-0, right? Fresno State. I mean, Mikey Keene's good, but I'll take Spooker in this. See, the thing is, people don't understand this run game is going to open up this pass game tremendously.
For sure.
I talked to my buddy Jared about this before, and not from Jared from CFF guys, and he was he was like, oh, can and Jaden Thomas, you said there's going to be more run game. How would that help Ricky White? Because I think he's going to get a lot of touchdowns over the top, Fido. I think people are going to be fighting on this run game because this run game is going to be dominant. And I think they're going to get, sneak a guy, try to stack a box, and all of a sudden, Sluka can throw the ball.
Right.
Just didn't have to as much, right? But now when he's thrown into one-on-one coverage to a guy who go up and get it, or a guy in the slot into Jesus that could just work the middle when it's only got to beat a linebacker, it could get ugly. This offense, like the guy said in the comments, they run a plays every 10 to 12 seconds. This is one of the they run like 65 plus plays a game.
They do.
Like behind J.D. Kynan, this offense might be the most, the fastest offense in college football. If they're pounding the ball down your throat consistently, boom, 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 you're gonna get beat. You're gonna be tired. Come the second half, watch out when they get these busted plays. Ricky White might have 6 catches for 106 and 2 touchdowns. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I love it. After that, Syracuse, I know that's a game that you like, but Syracuse is traveling across the country. They're playing that in Vegas. It's different, okay? They play Utah State after that. They play Oregon State, Boise State, Hawaii, San Diego State, San Jose State, Nevada. Their schedule is not bad. It's a lot of games in conference, and the game out of conference kind of works in their favor because it's cross country.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 9 wins, bro. If they get 10, now we're talking about possibly the best G5 team out there.
Yeah, they're definitely in the conversation if they can get that. Especially when you think about some of the teams that have to play this year. I love this pick, by the way. I hit Nino up like, what teams you want to talk about? When he said Baylor, I couldn't believe it, but I just love hearing that he wanted to talk about Baylor. So David Aranda and the Baylor Bears entered this season with a sense of urgency, other than the wonderful 2021 season where it was 12-2. David Aranda has losing seasons in Waco, Texas. And of course, the 1 year 6-6 regular season, but they did lose the bowl game. Offensively, the Bears finished with the 101st best offense nationally, only averaged 21.9 points a game. And this is in the Big 12 where they put up some points. Blake Shapen is now in Starkville, while former Toledo quarterback DeQuan Finn takes the reins at the helm. Nino, who are your other impact players offensively for the Bears?
One, David Aranda better figure it out. But they burned Waco, Texas down like David Koresh. Okay? Okay?
I didn't know where you were going. I didn't know where you were going with this.
I'm just saying.
I'm looking at a couple coaches this year, and I'm like, if you guys don't have decent seasons, I'm not sure.
They're giving him a guy in Finn that if they can't figure it out, Penny Boone better thank his lucky stars that DeQuan Finn was his quarterback last year, because he was one of the hottest commodities in the portal.
He was.
Twice, right? But that's because defenses were stacking boxes and trying to stop DeQuan Finn, and he was doing anything and everything he wanted to any team and every team that he wanted. That was the obvious. We're not really going to talk about it, all right? Ashton Hawkins should be an instant factor for the Bears at wide receiver. Transfer over here from Texas State. Monterey Baldwin is going to be the wide receiver 1, but he tends to pull off the best impersonation of Patrick Swayze in games and go, okay? So give me Hawkins at 56 receptions for almost 900 yards and 3 touchdowns last year for Texas State. And in offense, like we said, that's high pace, high tempo, 65 plus. This kid could be on the field all day, all game, and keep it going, right? He lined up all over the field. He's a certified chain mover. He had 35 first downs last season, right? Out of a total 56 receptions. Simple math.
That's impressive.
Catches for first downs, right? He's only 5'10", 170 pounds. He plays bigger than that. He's not afraid to go up for contested catches. Had a 65% contested catch rate. This kid's going to be a factor for Finn right off the rip. And if he can figure it out, if he can find the Holy Grail, if Indiana Jones can find the Temple of Doom, then Michael Tree can figure out how to be a top player. Okay, if a former USC and Ole Miss highly talented tight end prospect, because we've never seen him do shit.
No, we haven't.
Hasn't got it together yet. He's got one last team and one last season to do it. If he can figure it out and give us 60% of the talent that was supposed to be coming out of high school, he could be a guy in this offense. This offense has high tempo, high pace, spread it out. You know what I mean?
That's truly when they're at their best. Defensively, the Baylor Bears were even worse last season, ranking 113th nationally. Nino, how can the Bears improve defensively this season, and who are the players to watch?
It's going to be the old face and a new guy in the second term. Devin Bobby at wide safety. And once again, we'll have to recap it in Big 12. Mm-hmm. He had 8 tackles, 6 pass breakups, and interception last year. He's got to continue to be dominant, especially with his new running mate in West Kentucky transfer Kendrick Simpson. Now, this guy is a pit bull for the ball. This dude loves playing on the line or in the box. He had 10 tackles for loss last year and 4 forced fumbles for Hilltop.
That's crazy.
Combination of Simpkins and Bobby, you got a guy that can play the ball. You got a guy that can play the line. These guys could be done. The secondary for Baylor Bears could be what carries this defense. Outside of who? Matt Jones. Who? Matt Jones. Who? Matt Jones. 82 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 11.5 tackles for loss, and 5 pass breakups. This dude is a wrecking ball for the Bears front seven, and when you need him to, he can drop back in coverage and break up the ball. He needs to have successful 24 like he had in 23.
I like it. I think you give its fans a little bit of reason for hope down in Waco. The good news is for Baylor, they're returning 66% of their production, and they have the 57th toughest schedule nationally. Nino, what are your overall expectations? And we need honesty here, Nino. What are your overall expectations for the Baylor Bears this upcoming season?
Just like with Iowa, I tell you stuff about this return
production for sure.
66% of shit is still shit, right? And I'm not
depending on how well you develop. That
I need to see. All right, if you said I'm returning 66% of my production and I was 6 or 7 wins, okay. I had 3, and I was at the bottom end of everything. I was the TP toilet paper of the industry. Like, I'm not sure they get over the 5-win mark. If somehow he finds a horseshoe in his ass, Dave Bernard, Saquon Finn can carry this offensively on his team, they get 6. That's a monumental, successful season for Baylor. I don't know why people want to talk about his seat being hot, but I think if they start out like they should be good. I expect them to lose to Utah. If they're in that game to Colorado in week 4, he'll be okay because it's BYU, Iowa State. And then they get 3 teams in a row where they have to get a W out of there, or he might get axed after November 2nd. Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, TCU. He got to get a W in that. If you don't get a W out of those 3, his body of work at Baylor's been shit. He had 2 good years where they were okay. But if you put the whole body of work together, the recency bias out of it, it ain't that good. The last 2 years have stunk.
Right,
so,
it has.
I think with the way that other teams that weren't good in the Big 12 are getting better, are getting 4 and 5 stars. Texas Tech has a 5-star quarterback at Will Hammond lined up and ready to go, right? Like, TCU with Haas Hannenberg lined up. That's another 4-star quarterback. Like, they have the what's Baylor got lined up. I know they have Taz Williams Jr., 5-star wide receiver that they got somehow, some way to commit. And he's bringing in guys. But who's throwing the ball around? Who's the next guy up?
Yes. There's a lot of side commentary. I would just leave that there. I'm gonna go off script here. Who seats you think's hotter? Dave Aranda or PJ Fleck?
I don't know. See, I feel like PJ Fleck is like a WWE coach. He's just like Bobby the Brain Heenan, like right. The manager type deal. Like like they want him around. He does stupid shit, says stupid shit, and nobody it's like out there for like a day, and then
he's good to go. Yeah,
Minnesota likes him, right? Like they seem to not really care that he's sometimes stupid in the media.
Right.
Does stupid shit when it comes to coaching the team in practices, right? Like I don't really think PJ Fleck's seat is as hot as low-key Dave Arnott is hot. I think people in Waco are getting tired of the shit. Texas is known for winning football. They are in Texas.
Yeah.
You need to win football games.
You do. And it's
the locals, the people that pay the NIL bags, they ain't having 3 subpar seasons in a row.
Especially when the resources are plentiful clearly the resources in Baylor are plentiful.
What did you give Taz? He got, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Taz is a top tier wide receiver.
Right.
And he's bringing dudes. He got a 4-star offensive lineman. I think he brought in a 3-star QB who could be the guy. I don't know. But like right now, as of today, if Daquan Finn went down, you got problems.
Serious problems.
And what's going on with the running back? Like, because like Richard Reese 2 years ago had 900 yards, yet barely sniffed 66 carries last season. Played every freaking game. Yeah, Pendergrass.
Is he starting this year?
He's ranked as third on the depth chart. So like, what happened? What dirt does he have on somebody? What did he do off field?
I don't know. that's
Don't
crazy.
get me diving into shit.
Yeah. Speaking of diving,
I got my bucket hat on.
It's gonna be a classic episode where Dino has his bucket hat on. But speaking of diving, this brother who lives in a rabbit hole, I'm convinced if there's a rabbit hole, that's where Nino lives. This brother wanted to talk about UMass. He wanted to go crate digging. So I went crate digging with him. UMass finished the 2023 season 3-9, but there's reason to believe. We think. I'm not sure if Nino's so comfortable with that in Amherst this upcoming season. UMass has the 97th ranked offense nationally in 2023, averaging 23 points per game. New offensive coordinator Shane Montgomery will attempt to right the ship. Nino, tell me, who are the players to watch offensively for the Minutemen?
Ain't many.
Yeah, it ain't.
But there are some. We will give love to the some.
You got a 5-yard carry left in you? I tell everybody, I got one left in you.
I might got 1 or 2 left in me, but
I want to say that's right. You are a distance swimmer, all that. You might got a whole game worth of carries. I just got one.
Not again. Maybe a quarter. Like, if you give me like 7 1/4, I'm done.
Good. Yeah,
hamstring might be blown, but I give it everything I got. But I tell you, who's probably got about 200 carries. Okay. He's going to need all of them now that Katron Lynch Adams is going to Michigan. And then the guy who was supposed to replace him in CJ Hester, he bounced and went to Western Michigan. These are actually like, screw Mass, we're going Michigan. Give me Cookie Desirado. Yeah, that's right. Cookie Desirado, running back. Transfers over from Tulsa, people. Okay, this is a former 4-year starter at IMG. Kid who produced 1,500 yards and 26 touchdowns this senior year, and 5,600 yards in high school total, and 70+ touchdowns. Not like he just did it once. This kid is legit. Now he's getting a chance because this backfield is wide open like a saloon in the Western. All right, I believe Cookie Desirado could be Katron Lynch Adams 2.0. Kid had 36 receptions the last 2 years in high school for over 300 yards receiving, so he can be a dual threat back. I'm not really sure on how good of a pass pro guy he is in his protection. So that we'll have to see. I know he's smaller back. I think he's under 6 foot. But Katron Lynch was a smaller back too. I think Cookie Desirado is going to be a dude for the Minutemen. Now everybody's talking about Taysom at quarterback, the former Clemson product. You got to throw the ball to somebody. And last year, Anthony Simpson was the recipient of 55% of the total passing yards last season, with 792 on 57 receptions. Now, he only got 3 touchdowns, but he averaged 14 yards per catch. He was the heartbeat of the Minutemen for the past 3 seasons. And after this year, he's on pace to be the all-time leader in UMass history for receiving yards.
That's phenomenal.
So, Anthony Simpson is a guy that I think is going to lead them offensively. They also got, and now he's a special teams guy too. He'll be returning the kicks, but the punt returns will be my guy that I posted about last year and earlier this season out of Jacksonville State, Sterling Galbane. Okay, this kid's got wheels. This kid reminds me of a poor man's Julian Edelman. They only had 11 receptions for 125 yards and a touchdown. This is on an offense that averaged under 170 yards passing per game. Per game.
That's right. That's crazy.
This is it. This kid, when he had the opportunities, his route running is good. He's got good twitch, good suddenness to him. I'm not saying UMass is going to light the offense on fire, but they have a little bit of weapons this year that you may not know about, and I think these kids could be something.
Shout out to Justin. Shout out to T2T. He asked a great question. I'm gonna give him a couple teams. I'm sure you got a couple teams.
Go
I'm
ahead.
I'm really watching UCF this upcoming season. Gus Malzahn, KJ Jefferson, Harvey at running back. I'm also watching Alex Golish and USF as well with Sean Atkins and Byron Brown. I'm excited about them. I know Nino got a couple of crate diggers as well.
I like Virginia Tech. I think Virginia Tech
Hmm.
will be ranked in the top 25 this year, probably
They
in the
should
top
be.
20.
They should be.
Um,
They
I,
compete for the conference as well.
I know I'm going to stay in North Carolina State. I think it's
NC
a team
State.
a lot of
Oh,
people sleeping on. I think Noah Rogers is about to blow up. I think he's had his time. He got recruited to Ohio State, people.
hmm
That's wide receiver U. And now he's going to be, a valid option on the opposite side over there with your guy in Concepcion. So
hmm
I got the NC State. Missouri, bro. I've been saying Missouri. I got Missouri in the Final Four. I think Missouri is ready to cook this year. They got the easy peasy schedule. They have all the talent in the world. And I think if
They
you
do.
come out of the SEC, bro, you're going to be deep in this place.
Yeah, yeah. You're going places because there's not a look you haven't seen. So once again, shout out to Justin. Alrighty, so defensively, UMass had a bottom tier defense ranked 117th nationally, allowing 427 yards per game. How can this defense be much more improved this season? And who are the players to watch?
You wanted to be nice, huh?
Yes.
You wanted to be nice, and you went the yards route instead of going 133rd in points allowed per game, which is the worst in the nation.
I did. I know you live there.
It's almost 35 points per game allowed. You couldn't even score half that on a regular basis. Gerald Johnson at linebacker has to be a guy for that front seven that needs to cause problems. He needs to be a disruptor. He needs to get in that backfield. He needs to also be a guy that can drop back in coverage if necessary. He only had 52 tackles, his 2 tackles was a sack, but he's got to be the leader this year. It's all on, Gerald. I got a guy coming over from Clemson and Georgia Tech who, was recruited to be a dude, hasn't really got that time, and knows that Ruben, 6'3", 280 pounds defensive end. Like I said, someone's got to help Gerald make holes, make lanes, cause pressure. I think these two guys are going to have to be the guys to be able to get downhill and stop giving them wide open lanes like you work at the bowling alley for Lucky Strike, right? And stop giving these guys, enough time to put up a lawn chair and sip a lemonade in the back and get to your quarterback. It's just you're letting the quarterback do whatever they want, and you're letting these wide receivers run around for 6-7 seconds. Dion couldn't cover anybody for 6 to 7 seconds. Ed Reed wasn't covering anybody for 6. Remus Island only lasted about 3 seconds. You got to put pressure up front. Help these guys out in the secondary. Hey, offensive line, freaking hit somebody. Cause space. Stop making all the pressure happen in the back. You're giving, I'm going to mess up his name, but Tyson Famashama, you're giving him like 2.5 seconds to process. It's so difficult to work on that type of condition. Don Brown is a legend. Let's get some dubs for Don Brown this year, please.
I love it. Crate digging, rabbit hole guy. Nino.
Go ahead. I want you to say it because I'm going to say about your returning production. Go ahead.
Well, you just always in a rabbit hole, bro. You live in a rabbit hole, bro.
Right? Return production of shit. You're returning 74% production that got you 3 dubs.
Yeah, that's it. But like I say, you can return production, but how do you develop their production? There are programs that develop production better than others. Clemson is a program that over the years has been able to develop production. Some programs do it better than others, and I don't know why my internet's bugging right now. But you're right.
Clemson doesn't lose offensive production for 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns. So,
right.
K-Ron was like 65% of the offensive production. That's gone. Somebody got to figure that out. You know what I mean? Like that's where like Yeah, cool. We got 70% return production. 70% of that is on defense. 4% of that's on offense. Well, the problem was, on defense, they allowed the most points than anybody in the country. So cool. We bring back everybody that was Swiss cheese last year. Hopefully, the holes in the Swiss cheese are a little bit smaller this year. That's all I can hope for. I honestly think we got a repeat season of 3 wins. And I hope Dom can make it through the whole year.
3 wins. You don't think Dom makes it? Because is this the second?
Health-wise. I hope he makes it through the year health-wise.
Oh, health-wise.
He's old, man.
Is this the second stint with UMass?
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
back again, like Mac Brown in it out there.
I see, man.
Like, they play Missouri at UMass, which I'm going to try to be at.
Yo, that
game's going to be over in the first freaking quarter.
That independent schedule grind ain't it. It just ain't it.
Then they play Georgia. How is that fair? They better upgrade the stadium then. With that type of money, bro.
Yeah, that's how.
Missouri, Mississippi State, Georgia. Whew, that's tough. That's 1, 2, and Liberty stacked in there. That's 4 out of the last 5 games.
Yikes. That's not good, bro.
No, that's roughage, bro.
That's not good at all.
Most teams you would say that Miami of Ohio and NIU are layups.
No.
Right?
No.
But with most teams.
Right.
Not with this team.
Nah. And I don't think Miami of Ohio is a layup with they played great last year. And you know how I feel about Matt Salapat.
Start the year off.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go to Toledo.
Yeah, because they were formerly in the MAC and they kind of still play some MAC teams and then play I don't
play a couple. I feel like they play an ACC team or 2 a year. They have NIU mixed in there somewhere as well.
A couple SEC teams.
Yeah, I don't know how they got the SEC teams. I have no idea. Yeah, I guess they got to be paying the big boys, the ducats.
Yeah, I believe the big boys play them to come and show out. Just like how remember when was it Middle Tennessee that beat Miami and got paid like $1 million to play in their game?
Yeah,
it's money for the program to get embarrassed, but what happens when you don't get embarrassed?
Liberty. I don't know, either Liberty or I gotta go to the Missouri game on a Saturday, October 12th.
That'd be crazy. Yeah,
Liberty's at home too against in Amherst, so one of the I might say Salsa. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm about to say if you can see Brady Cook and Luther Burden,
that's what I'm saying.
Crazy, that'd be crazy, bro. That'd be crazy. Nino, it's been a pleasure as always. Shout out to everybody who's been able to participate in this stream. Typically, we're on my internet's bugging right now, and I don't even know why. And I got to talk to my provider because I play for gig speed internet. Typically, we're live on Twitter and YouTube. Today, I believe you said we're strictly.
No,
on.
We're back. It's back.
We're back on Twitter. So it's been crazy. Nino, it's a pleasure as always, brother. Go ahead and shout out some stuff that you've been doing, projects you've been working on, etc.
CFB Nation, right? It's time. Like I'm trying to. The season, I'm dwindling it down. I'm getting the Tiger Woods vision. I'm locking in. I'm pretty much CFB Nation only right now, and nothing wrong with that. I'm back home and I'm ready to cook. I feel like the Salt Bay. We're going to sprinkle a little bit on right now. We're ready to get a nice, healthy meal this season. We got a lot of things in the mix. We got, Garnett Roosters coming back.
Can't wait.
Welcome to the Big House. We got the O, right? We're CFB Prime. We'll have the Boston College edition. We also have Georgia Tech. What's the name of that one? Real quick?
The Buzz Report.
The Buzz Report. We got Hawkeyes. We got that show coming up. We have Sooner Shakedown.
I can't wait for both of those shows.
We're bringing on. We also have Life Elevated Utah. The state of Utah football, right, with Andy Pham.
That's phenomenal.
Bringing on Miranda. She's going to be doing a Virginia Tech Hokie Hustle show coming up. Maybe about 2 weeks. There's a lot in the works. The goal is obviously have a representative or a show for every team out there, so we can get every fan base the love that they deserve and get the news and report out to them as always. But season starts, Overreaction starts breaking down games, previewing games. It's just a good time to be a part of the CF Nation. If you are interested about being part of the CFB Nation, you want to write an article, you want to be part of a podcast, you want to represent your team, any team that may be, big or small. Yeah. North Dakota Jackrabbits, whoever it may be, you let us know. Hit one of us up in the DMs, give us an email, whatever it may be. We'll get it. Everything gets read, and we'll get cooking.
Business is open. Business is open for sponsors. I don't know if you guys seen, we're going crazy on YouTube, crazy on Twitter. Instagram is going dummy. 18 million accounts reached in the last 30 days. Marketing at dcfbnation.com or leverkt at dcfbnation.com. We are open for business. As I always like to say, there are no more victories in a sport that survive in advance. That's why college football has the greatest regular season. And guess what, y'all? What are we, 10? Almost 10 days away from actual football? Week 0? I cannot wait, man. You all take care. Yes, sir. Today I am the governor of college football. Yes, sir. The mayor of college football, a.k.a. Down